Dude, what are you doing?
And we're live.
Oh my god. All right. Unbelievable. All right. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 86 of the Tiki Taka podcast. It's decided to start with Cynthia and Bruno laughing because, that's what Bruno likes to do. He likes to make people laugh. Anyway, I'll give Cynthia a couple more seconds to, get her shit together. So, I'm your host, Peter. I'm joined by Bruno.
What's going on, everyone? Happy
And
5 points in front day.
good. I thought it was Rusev Day. You're not going to get it. Doesn't matter. Anyway, Patrick
Hello, everyone.
and Cynthia.
Hi.
Stop
That's
laughing.
one way to stop laughing. 5 points ahead. Damn it.
Yeah,
Como é que
yeah.
frio do caraças, pá?
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's kind of. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Could be better. Anyway,
nippy.
we got a lot of games to go through. 4.5 to be, straight up with you. So I'm not gonna waste any more time, and we're gonna go by chronological order, which means that Sporting's game against Astana will be the first one on the list. So Patrick, I'm gonna let you take it from here.
Yeah, so on the day, Sporting started with a bit of a 4-4-2, 4-3-3 hybrid with Patricio in net, Coentrão, Coates, André Pinto, and Piccini along the back. A midfield of William Carvalho, Bruno Fernandes, and Brian Ruiz roaming through the middle. Gelson and Acuna on the wings, and Dumbia got the nod up top. Difficult game. Unusual conditions for Sporting, playing on an artificial pitch and all that, but overall thought it was a decent performance. We started so slowly on the night, Coentrão in particular had a really poor game, which didn't bode well because Astana's best player just so happens to be their right winger, and really and truly Astana started really well. But second half we came out strong, 1-0 down, but we turned it around quickly to 3-1. Astana's legs, I think, really went in the second half because they've obviously just come in from pre-season. Their season starts in March, so it was a test for them, and Sporting took advantage of it on the night. 3-1 win, comfortable. So we should really get the job done in the second leg now. Perhaps rotate a few players and sort them out and relax a bit.
I mean, I don't have a lot to add. I started watching the game. Astana scored, and they could have scored more, but they weren't as clinical. And then Sporting started to tie the defense up and be more aggressive. And in a span of 2 minutes, they got 2 goals, and that was about it. Just kind of surprised, didn't touch on the incredibly ridiculous decision of the offside goal by Dumbia, which he was clearly onside.
Obviously, the game was so far away now. We've had loads
Yeah,
of games
I
in
know.
between,
But
yeah,
it's something that it could have cost you guys.
Yeah, always Dumbia, right? It's difficult enough for Dumbia to finish off his chances, and then when he eventually does, they take it away from him. But it's one of those things. Sporting, just whenever we go into Europe, we don't seem to have the rubber to green with decisions of late. Obviously, if we scored, perhaps Sporting would have turned the game around quicker. But thankfully, we put in a good performance by the end of it, and that bad decision didn't come back to haunt us.
Yeah, so that was good for you guys. But anyway, I pretty much agree with everything that you said. Ended up being an easy win after a rocky start. Bruno, I don't know if you want to weigh in on this.
I mean, listen, it was a tough game. I think the first 20, 25 minutes, Sporting looked like they didn't want to get players hurt or something. They went in very soft, even in challenges. And then I think they didn't seem like they were comfortable on the playing surface, which honestly I don't really understand. I mean, I think you get a better control of the ball on turf than you do on grass. At least, on the grass that I've played on.
Yeah, that's that.
But
I was
anyway,
thinking that as well during the game, because obviously, when growing up, I played on turf and trained on synthetic grass, and personally, I always preferred the synthetic grass. But obviously, I think we've got to look a bit at how the players prepare and how good the players' grass is. It's almost, some say it's almost like carpet. So between our grass and their grass is probably a completely different level, and I think from that perspective is where I can see that playing on synthetic grass might be a problem.
It still turns out to be
But
kind of
that's it.
stupid though, because a lot of the players are are nowadays they pretty much go through the whole youth ranks playing on synthetic grass, so they shouldn't really feel much of the difference, or it's not like it's the first time they're playing there. Anyway,
Yeah, it
bring it
depends.
back to
But
your
then
point.
again, the intensity that you put into training isn't always the same commitment that you might put into a game and that sort of stuff. Um, so
Right.
perhaps that's the avenue that managers that are against synthetic grass perhaps take.
I mean, that was my first impression. Then Dumbia's goal got called back, which was a clean goal. I mean, UEFA really needs VAR as soon as possible. Competent
Do they
VARs
though?
for
Do
sure.
they though?
They
Okay.
really do. They
Good.
really do.
I like the
Um,
fact that you added the competent part in there.
the And then I think after that, once Sporting scored their first goal, you could definitely tell the team was much looser. The team played a lot more fluid, and then eventually their talent took over. But I will say this: if they don't rest Brun Fernand soon, that guy is going to be a major problem down the stretch for Sporting if he gets injured. And he looks very very worn out.
I think we've missed our chance to rest Bruno Fernandes because
I,
our stretch, it could be now. I mean, if we slip up any more now, then that might be our season done. We need our best players now. I think the time's been around November, December time when we could have really chopped and changed the squad a little bit more than we did. And guys like Bruno Fernandes and Acuna, who Acuna's come into the season having already played like 6 months of football in Argentina. Gelson as well, who's already had injury problems. A few of those guys, I think we should have already looked into giving them a rest, and that hasn't happened. George likes to play his best team every game. That's just the way he operates. But I don't know about changing too much now. I think now it's just a case of keeping your eye on poor form and picking one or two players out. But other than that, I think this is the stretch. From now until the end of the season, we can't slip up anymore. So it's tricky.
Yeah, it could very well be, but I mean, I think that was really the key. Is you missed an opportunity to probably rest some guys, and I believe Bruno Fernandes played the whole game, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
And that's going to be a
We
problem.
You rest him
let
the
me
next
see.
two games.
Yeah, we only had the change which Cointran came off.
Jelson came off, right?
Yeah,
And maybe
Gelson came
Dumbia.
off and Dumbia. Yeah, but Taglia, Freddie Montero, and Ruben Ribeiro were the players to come on. Yeah,
You know what?
obviously.
If I'm JJ, I would play Ruben Ribeiro, center attacking midfielder, or whatever they put Bruno Fernandes in, and let him rest against Astana and maybe
Yeah, I'd
against
agree with
Moreirense,
that.
at least for like maybe the first half, and then if things get tough, you bring him on.
Yeah, maybe
He's
Ryan Ruiz
he's
comes in.
he's definitely your most influential player in the midfield. So if he goes down, that's going to be a very difficult person
Yeah,
to
yeah.
fill in and replace. So
It's a bit like
make sure
it's a bit
make
like
sure you run him
Adrian.
to the ground.
Yeah,
Were
yeah, I'd
you
agree with
gonna
that.
say that it's kind of like Krovinovic and Benfica?
No, I was gonna say it was a bit like. Do you remember a time when Sporting fans would fret over the fitness of Adrian Silva and how much of an impact he had on our squad. There was a period last year
He
where
got hurt for like
yeah,
3 months or something.
yeah, we threw in guys like Elias and that, and we really lost our way early on. Sort of found our feet after that, but yeah, I'd agree with that. Bruno Fernandes is so crucial to the team. He's almost like Jorge Jesus in the pitch. That's how heavy his impact is. So yeah, if we lose him, um, it's a massive blow. Perhaps the biggest blow that any team can have.
And just to add to your point with Bruno Fernandes is that every game that Sporting hasn't been successful in, Bruno Fernandes has not shown up at all. Not just because of him, also because the teams prepare for him. But if Bruno Fernandes doesn't exist, Sporting doesn't exist. That's the big problem.
Yeah, and I'd like to touch upon that a bit later when we get into the Tondela game. But yeah, there's essentially a lot of our play goes through him, and we haven't really. Like Jesus likes to play about with 4-3-3 and a 4-4-2. I don't think he's 4-4-2 is his preferred formation, but I don't think he's really got the personnel to play that two striker up top. So a lot goes down what Bruno Fernandes can do through the middle in terms of the team's intensity, and then what Gelson can fashion on the wing.
All right, so back to you, Bruno.
No, I mean that's really it. I mean, Sporting has the elimination in their hands. Uh, they have the tie completely controlled. They can probably rotate half a dozen players in the next game. I think Sporting's backups have enough quality to even win the match at home against the full side for Astana. So I think it benefits Sporting to to rotate some players, but I do understand that Cabaleta likes to run his players into the ground, and if that's what you choose to do, please do so we can extend our advantage of 5 points to way more.
Yep, that's the issue with JJ. Anyway, Cynthia, you want to weigh in on the game?
I watched it too. I thought it was a good goal from Dumbia, and then with 30 minutes left, Astana got a red, and there was nothing from Sporting after that. They went into the half losing. It was 1-0, obviously, and then there were 3 quick goals. Then they come up a man and nothing. And I hope it's good enough because obviously they've got the aggregate, but I mean, if Astana come up and they're on a tear, who knows?
They have to score 3 goals to go through.
No, I understand that, but soccer is soccer. The reason we all like football is because it's anybody's game on a particular day. You know that. There have been crazy games, so whatever. I'm just saying I hope it's good enough because unlike some haters, I hope that Portuguese teams do well in Europa and in Champions League. So we'll see.
All right. So let's move on now then to the next game, which if I'm not mistaken, it was Benfica, right, against Boavista, right?
Yep. Yes, sir. 4-0.
Okay, thank you. All right. So Benfica won that game 4-0. I'll give you the Benfica lineup real quick. So it was Bruno Varela in goal, André Almeida, Ruben Dias, Jardel, and Grimaldo across the back. Pizzi, Feza, and Zivkovic in the midfield with Rafa, Jonas, and Servi up front. Cynthia, I'll let you go first on this one. What did you think about the game?
Obviously, 4-0 is awesome. And then I'm just going to go through my notes. I'm not even going to talk about. Yes, it was a good game. There was a handball not called against Boavista. The hand is not in a natural position, so it's one of those things that I don't like. And apparently, he goes to Fabio Coentrão's school of unnatural arm positions because that's stupid. Anyways, it annoys me. Then we get a yellow card.
Tell me how you really feel.
He's a pateta. We got a yellow card to Jardel, and I thought it was excessive. He played the ball, and the Boavista guy played the ref. So we're moving on. Servi was great. I like watching him, and I feel like not only does he does great footy, but he deked out the defenders. He even elevates Rafa and Pizzi for me because those two were kind of doing poo poo, and then he brings them up a level, which is obviously needed because we want to win, right? I thought it was great team play. They started out from our goal line at one point, and Phasia brought it all the way up, and then Pizzi was just not on target, which happens, but you kind of wish that they were. It would have been bigger.
That was a great shot, though. It was a good shot. It
Right?
was
Yeah,
just wide.
just
So
wide.
it wasn't.
Fine. And
It
then
was though. It was just like an
no, it was.
inch. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So practice that peasy or wear some sort of like goggles that help his eyes. Either way, there was, keeping in mind that yellow to Jardel, the Boavista guy then stomps Phasia 2 times after a throw in. And I'm like, come on, ref, you got to be consistent on this shit. Like, this is your game. Do it. The second goal, I really liked it. It was from a corner, and they were both from corners, actually, which everybody started going off about. And then in the second half, Bovish, the guy, was pulling on Jonas, and eventually Jonas gets off balance and he falls, but it was a play on. So I was like, great job, ref. And then Varela with a bumble save again. This guy was driving me up a wall. And then I thought Zivko had a good game too. Yay, that's
it. All right.
No time. I didn't write down time because I'm a dummy.
All right, I'm just gonna, piggyback off you. I thought it was a good game. What I really liked was, I feel like watching the game, sometimes we don't realize some of the things. So I was really, happy when I was on Twitter and I saw that video that Benfica posted, and I started watching it, and with the speed that they were rotating the ball, I was like, yeah, this team's playing really fast and a lot of good combinations on the left side, which obviously isn't surprising, with Servi, Zivkovic, and Grimaldo, but still, I was watching those, and it was all in the first half, and Benfica was really good. They're playing some really good football, and they might be one of the best right now in terms of football. We'll just see if they keep up with it because, again, we play good football. Ruben Diaz and Jardel scoring, was good for the team. I think, if there was any doubt about Ruben Diaz, it should be done by now. They should be done and dusted. I think he's one of the best center backs, Portuguese center backs. Much better than for example, Ruben Smith, which we all know what happened. But I was talking about him as a player. I think he's already surpassed him, and I'm not surprised that if he gets called up because he deserves it. But yeah, it was just a good game. We got to see, Rafa play really well, and we just gotta keep on trucking. We gotta keep on winning, and Bruno was right. Bruno, I think, said 4-0 for Benfica. So congratulations, Bruno. Well, you want to say something about this game? Maybe not. Does he? I think he turned on his.
But you put your video, but you're.
Yeah, you put on the camera, but not the. That was smart, bro. That was really smart, bro.
There we go.
That was the smartest
I hit the wrong
thing
button.
you've ever done. Yeah, we know.
All right, so basically it was like this. I disagree with Ruben Diaz surpassing. Ruben Diaz surpassing Ruben Smith, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are we talking about soccer? Or are we talking about prison sentences?
Whoa!
I'm talking about football.
Okay, well then I would have to agree with you. I thought you were referring more to prison sentences. But as for the game, let's be honest. This is not the same Boa Vista that plays at Stadio de Bessa than it is when they play outside Stadio de Bessa. Boa Vista was very weak. They don't play very aggressive at all. They have very limited quality players. This is a team that's going to battle to stay in the first division or somewhere in the middle of the table. So it is. It's one of those things with Boa Vista. Benfica is going to be playing these teams. I think. What do you guys got next? Passo Freire?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that should be pretty simple win as well. These are teams that are all struggling.
Boa Vista is 8th in the league, Just letting you know.
I know,
I
but
just
this is
noticed
what
that.
I've said before on the. I've said it on this podcast, and I've said it on Three Tugas plenty of times. Is the league, the Portuguese league right now, is so balanced from the mid-table down and not the mid-table up. Actually, it's a more unbalanced from, I would say, what, fifth place all the way down.
Yeah,
It's very
fifth.
balanced.
Yeah.
Fifth
I'm
down,
watching it. Yeah, you're right. Fifth from
fifth
the yeah.
fifth down, everything is pretty much balanced. Um, from fourth place up, there's not a lot of there's somewhat of balance between the top four, with the exception of Braga. Braga's in pretty much in a league of their own. They're in between the top three and the rest of the league. So, Boavista is one of those teams that unfortunately the league gains way more interest when Boavista is stronger. And just like a team like Belenenses and Stubble and Guimarães and all these other teams, but when they're weak, the league loses a lot of interest and we lose a lot of quality. That's my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
All right. Patrick, did you watch this game? You want to weigh in on it in any way?
Yeah, I want to follow on a bit from what Bruno said and, well, more or less agreed it. But Boavista aren't exactly. They're not like one of those teams that, the ones that you usually find down the bottom that will come up to you and defend from the first minute to the last and try to time waste as much as they can. They like to play football, and that's the distinction between this season and last season. Last season they used to say that, oh, we don't have the caliber of players to play more expansive, and they probably don't, but they do try. And I think they've put in decent numbers as a whole. But against Benfica, particularly, obviously coming away from home, playing against a big team, which is never easy. I think they're a bit disappointing as well. Just going back through, I think the first chance obviously was Jonas. He missed the penalty. It come from, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Servi, the challenge on Servi, right?
I believe
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I don't think that was a penalty.
I think that's weak.
Yeah, but
I
anyway,
think
he
that's
missed.
weak.
And then the next goal is Ruben Dias, who manages to escape the marking and more or less head in the opener, which puts Boavista in a difficult position, because obviously playing against Benfica is always hard enough. When you're making little mistakes like that, it only makes life tougher. But the next goal, Jardel's a strong guy in the air. Fair goal. Second half, I thought Servi again, another top performance. Those combinations on the left with Grimaldo in particular are carrying Benfica really well. Uh, I think they're perhaps just as pivotal to Benfica's growth as the impact Krovinovic was having on the team. Um, and then the third goal, it was that own goal, wasn't it? Which
Yeah.
obviously, it was unlucky, really. It was just one of those days for Boavista. You make a mistake in one half, and the luck isn't with you in the second half, and by then, the game's over for you essentially. Jimenez then taps in the fourth. Jimenez is a good player, by the way. He's a player I rate, and I don't think he gets as much credit as he did. Well, sometimes he gets so much credit for reasons I can't really see. Like Jimenez was the player that Luis Felipe Vieira said one day will be sold for 50 million, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that's
He
probably not
talks
going
a
to
lot,
happen.
though. Don't listen to LFE.
But I think he's a good player.
He's averaging like a goal every 160 something minutes or something like that, which isn't terrible.
As a striker, I think he's got really well-rounded attributes. He's got a bit of pace. He's obviously strong, good in the air, good finisher. He's got decent technique, and he has that ability to come off the bench and score a goal. So yeah, that's a positive. But I don't know what it means to Benfica, because he doesn't get used as regularly as I think he probably should. But end of the day, rounding off, good win for Benfica, and their good form continues.
I can't. I'm not the best of guy to talk about Jimenez, so I'm gonna try and
Oh
step
yeah,
back with
one
me.
more thing.
Go ahead.
Ruben Dias, he's been solid. I give it to him, but he hasn't reached the levels that Ruben Semedo did in Jorge Jesus' first season.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We're getting there.
After that, okay, I'll give it to him because Ruben Semedo has gone downhill, admittedly. But
let's not
first
even,
Jorge
right?
Jesus season, he was unbelievable.
All right. So one thing though, I want to ask, Patrick, since you were talking about it, and it was something that I asked my dad. If you're Argentina's, like national, the coach, do you bring Acuna and Servi to the World Cup if they keep playing like this, or only one of them gets the spot? Because they're both being really important for both teams. So, what do you think, Patrick?
You see, I think between the two, they're very different players. I think Acuna is more of he's a particular he's like a wingman. He gets chalk on his boots up and down the flank. And for what Argentina like to play, which is obviously with the wing backs, the system Sampaoli had with Sevilla and Chile, I think Acuna probably has more chance of making it in the Argentina squad than Servi. Not to say that Acuna is better in any way.
Just
Servi's
don't
probably
just don't say that
having a better
Servi
season.
can't defend. Just don't say that Servi can't
Yeah,
defend because he
but you know
does.
what I mean. Servi's not going to go to he's not going to go to Russia to play left wing back, is he? That's the thing. I think
Yeah,
Acuna probably
he doesn't have the body for it. he
yeah
doesn't have the
yeah
body for it.
I think essentially that's what it comes down to. I think Acuna has a chance because Argentina aren't blessed with defenders anyway, um, in comparison to their attackers, and that's exactly where Servi falls into. He's like a wide playmaker, so he's going to be going up against the likes of um, you know Lo Celso and Di Maria and even guys like Dybala and Messi, who, because Argentina have a truckload of strikers, they form part of the midfield as well. So it's going to be tricky, but um, he's not doing his chances any harm. He's certainly playing well. Um, but then again, it's the Portuguese league. Sometimes it's
I
difficult to
mean,
judge.
let's just think that Salvio was being called up regularly,
Yeah,
and if
but
Salvio gets the right to get called up regularly, then at least Servi and Acuna should both have a very decent shot of making it.
yeah,
If not
but
both of them.
that's the thing. I mean, Salvio's gone a few times. Acuna has more recently, but that's the thing. I put Salvio a lot closer to Acuna as like, for example, I can see the Argentina manager putting Salvio as a right wing back,
I know it. Yeah, I know what you're trying to get at.
but
Yeah,
I obviously can't see Servi doing that role, and I can't see Servi
but I
ousting
don't see a lot of
obviously a
wingers
Messi.
for Argentina though. Like,
Yeah,
okay, we're getting off topic, but real quick, like, who does Argentina have that plays as a? I know Messi can play there, but like,
yeah. I
but
mean,
besides that, and him and Di Maria, but Di Maria plays through the middle most of the time too, so it's not like they're blessed with wingers.
yeah, I know, but
They have
I
a lot
mean,
of power forward, right? But they don't have.
yeah,
They, they,
that's what I mean. They use the wing backs as to get their width, and so in this scenario, a player like Servi would be able to be a lot freer to roam, and he'll come into the middle. But they prefer to just have one man on each wing and then pack everyone in the middle. You know what I mean? So that's where you
Mhm.
find your Di Marias, and there's a few good youngsters as well coming through, like Joaquin Correa, who played today against Man United, and guys like that. So competition is tough for Argentina in terms of attacking midfielders. They've always got
Mhm.
loads. So it's just one
Mhm.
of those things. It's unfortunate for Servi because he has been um, a massive standout this season in Portugal. Perhaps, well, definitely bigger than Salvio and Acuna. So it's just a shame that he plays in a position that's overpopulated.
Mm-hmm. All right. So thank you for that. Sorry, you went a little bit off topic, but it's just something that I thought we should discuss. Anyway, is are we done with the Benfica game and all that? Can I move on, or does anybody want to say anything else?
I think that's it.
So I'm just waiting on Bruno to say something.
You already asked him. Remember the
No, yeah, I'm just.
close up?
I just want him to say. I just want him to say that I can move on. Can I move on?
Yeah, you can move on.
All right. All right. Let's move on to
We
Porto
need
Rival
Bruno's
then.
permission to move on, guys.
Of course, before I think it was like last week. He was like, "Hey, hold on, I didn't say something." I was like, "Okay, it's like
Because you didn't even ask him.
I
This time
know,
you
but I
asked
wanted to
him.
make sure. Anyway, so
He
move
made
on
up for
to
last week. He asked me twice.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. There you go. See. So anyway, moving on to Porto Rival. Porto won this game comfortably 5-0. I'm gonna let you know that I did not watch this game, but it was because I wasn't home. So don't BS me. Anyway, it was Casillas in goal, Maxi, Felipe Marcano, and Alex Telles across the back, with Corona, Herrera, Sergio Oliveira, and Brahim in the midfield, Marega and Suarez up top. Bruno, I'm going to let you go and talk about your team.
Well, I mean, the key in this game was without question scoring early. I mean, after the loss to Liverpool, I think it was very key to start this game with an early goal to keep the team loose. Well, we scored early in the 20th, I'm sorry, in the second minute by a good shot by Sergio Oliveira. And then shortly after, we should have saw Tarantini get a red card, a direct red. The referee opted for a yellow card. That would have made the game much simpler for Porto with a man down, especially such an influential player like Tarantini is in the Riwav lineup. And then we got a second goal in the 22nd minute, which completely rattled Riwav, and then the own goal pretty much was the nail in the coffin. Porto had an opportunity to rotate some players, rest some other players. I thought it was all good. It was a very comfortable win. You look at the way Riwav played. Riwav, again, I've said this before when they played Benfica. They try to play like the big three. They just don't have the personnel for it. The system of play is there. The the style of play is there. They just don't have enough players or quality players to play that system. Unfortunately for Riwav, they got buried very quickly to a much motivated Porto team. Porto wanted to answer back to what happened with Liverpool. They did. They did it with, They did it with a lot of style. A lot of credit has to be given to Sergio Oliveira. He played another very good game. Same thing with I thought Corona played pretty good. Suarez has been pretty much on fire. Mariga has started. It seems like he's starting to recover form. And the back line was just superb. So I think all in all, I mean, you really can't say much when someone pounds you through, 3-0 before the half, and eventually 5-0. That's my
Mm-hmm.
take on this game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I just want to say something real quick. First of all, when I heard the first goal, I immediately just turned to my grandpa and said, "This is gonna be a 5-0 blowout," which ended up happening. And just one thing, I didn't watch the Tarantini play, but as much as my dad is a Benfiquista, he tends to be quite unbiased with the plays, and he felt like that wasn't a foul. I'm not sure. I didn't watch it. I just want to point that out. But the guys on the radio did say there was a foul, and if it was a foul, that it should have been a red card. Just wanted to point that out real quick. Cynthia, do you want to say anything else about this game?
My notes are not as extensive as when it's my team because I don't care. And so a minute and a half in, it wasn't even at 2 minutes. That's what they'll call it because they always round up, right? But it was a minute and 30 seconds, first goal. And I was like, oh, great. And that set the tone for the game. There was a free kick given to to Porto, and I thought that it was off of a dive. But that's just me. I thought that the guy actually got the ball, and then the Porto player kind of played off of the follow through kick, and I was like, that's bullshit. But he got a stupid free kick from it. Halftime 3-0, full time 5-0, and they dominated. So there's nothing else to say.
All right. Um, Patrick, do you want to say anything about this game?
Well, I was looking at this game coming in, and I thought, uh, obviously Porto losing 5-0. Whoever might be probably would have been thinking, it's a good time to play them. But equally, Porto were thinking, right, this is the team that we're going to respond to because they've lost by 4 or 5 goals for about 3 or 4 games running as well. And as Brun said, that early goal, it plays on the team's mind. I don't know what was going through Khiwav's head psychologically, having lost so many games previous, and then 1 minute in, you're a goal down. It was perfect. It was a perfect storm for Porto, and then as we all know, that they're somewhat experts in the air. Suarez got 1 goal in the second half. There was another as well from Marega who jumps somewhat unintended. Khiwav aren't, Nelson Mont and Marcelo, they're good defenders, but they're not the tallest, not the most commanding. So I expected Porto to have that over them in the grand scheme of things. There was obviously that own goal as well for the third in the first half from Marcelo, which it's just super unlucky as well. But by the end of it, all you can say is that Porto were the stronger side and the hungrier side, also the most fortunate side. So all in all, it points towards a 5-0 victory, which I'm sure will do them a world of good.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Bruno, after hearing everybody talk, I don't know if you want to, add to what was said again.
I mean, it really is hard to debate. Um, it's a 5-0 win. I mean, it's hard to debate even that foul. I mean,
You paid them. You paid them. It was bought.
Excuse me.
I'm
Listen,
being sarcastic.
this is not
kidding,
Sport Lisboa e Benfica, okay?
She
Okay.
was playing around with you.
I walked into
I know.
it.
I know she is. She likes to throw in her zingers, but I always got to reply for her.
It's not really a zinger. You always have a reply
Listen, excuse me. Don't make me start talking about. Don't make me start talking about what we were talking about prior to the
we
air.
won't. We're not going to. We're not. No, not that, or you'll make her laugh too much.
Because
Anyway.
listen, the fans want to know what Cynthia's into.
Oh my God!
Okay.
No.
You're a crazy pants.
Yeah, we should stop before this thing gets out of hand.
But anyway, no, I think that it really is undebatable. Porto played very well. I mean, and listen, Rio Ave, I give credit to them. I mean, I've talked about it with Steph off the air about Rio Ave very extensively about this team. This team really tries to be a really big team. I think this is a team that is trying to build an identity going forward for the future for their club. They want to be a team that wants to challenge the big three. The problem is they just don't have the personnel for it, and it, they have like Patrick brought up 2 good players, Marcelo and Nelson Munt. But here's the problem. Marcelo and Nelson Munt are very good players for a Rio Ave team. If you look at
Marcelo's going to Sporting.
But this is where I'm about this is what I'm about to get at. Now, do we feel that Marcelo could go into Sporting and start over any of those 2 center backs right now?
He's not even better than Andre Pinto.
That's what I'm trying to say. So right there, I don't think that's a good fit for him. I mean, you're right. You're going to be sitting on the bench and you're going to get paid a lot more money than what you're getting paid at Rio Ave, but you're not going to play. So, any of those guys on Rio Ave, and then let's be honest. I never thought that Ruben Ribeiro was going to be that much of an impact for a team like Rio Ave, but Jesus Christ, this guy, since he's left, they have struggled offensively. And he was their mastermind, and they never got anybody to replace Ruben Ribeiro. So I think at the end of the day, I mean, if Rio Ave doesn't try to tweak some things, this is a team that's going to continue to not get any points, and then eventually the pressure is going to be on the coach.
I'm going to tell you what they should do. they should start Nun Sanch. Honestly, I don't understand why he doesn't play.
Well, but Peter,
Mind
he
boggling.
is their player. He is their player. You realize that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
He's not Benfica's player
I
anymore.
know, I
He's
know, I know, I know, I know, I
he's
know. He's a Real player. Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying,
he's
I
a good
don't
player.
understand why he doesn't play. I think he's a
Well,
very
he
good
was
player.
injured for a while. Don't forget that
Yeah,
he
but
was injured
he's
for quite some
yeah,
time.
but in the first half of the season, who came on and scored against Casitas? It was him. It was him. He's a good player. I just don't understand why he doesn't play a lot. And with João Novaes and you adding Nuno Santos to the lineup, I think the team starts to get a little bit better. But it is what it is. It's the coach's decision. But I honestly don't know why Nuno Santos doesn't play more often. And obviously that's gonna get to them because without Ruben Ribeiro, you know, I think Nuno Santos is besides being extremely fast, I think he's also got quick feet and he's good at dribbling, so he do well replacing him. But for some reason, the coach doesn't seem to think that. And obviously, Hiwab are struggling. They conceded 14 goals in the last 3 away games. We're
Yeah,
talking
that's a lot of
14
goals.
goals, and
Yeah,
against
no, that's a
Benfica and
lot of
against
goals.
Porto, it's okay. But 4 against Portimonense, I mean, count.
Well,
We're
again,
talking
and
a
this
team
is
that
what
was below them, right? So
understood, but this is the problem. Now, this is what I want you to understand. My point. My point is that okay, you want to go against the Portimonense with a big three mentality. We're going to go in there and we're going to beat them. We're going to play open. We're going to go eye to eye, and we're going to try to take the game to them. But the problem is when you play a team like that, like Portimonense, and you're playing eye to eye and you're playing very open, you also kind of forget that Portimonense does have quality players and it has some quick players like Fabricio and Nakajima, and they make you pay. And guess who are the two guys that made them pay? Nakajima and
good for
Fabricio.
them.
So, I mean, this is the problem with a team like Rio Ave. I think they're trying to build an identity. I just don't have. Just don't think they have the personnel for it just yet.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but
All right.
I'd just like to say, like, who have a fifth, aren't they?
Yes,
So when
fifth or sixth.
when
I think
obviously
they're fifth.
they've had a few bad results, but against Benfica and Porto, you can almost normalise it a little bit because they are big teams. And Portimonense, then you can also come away and take away the fact that they're a good footballing side. They'll attack you and they can cause you problems. I don't know. I don't know if it'd be if it'd be wise. I think this will be going through. The team has played so well. All right, with Ruben Ribeiro for most of the season, but they've played so well and managed to attain fifth place. What would you guys, ditch the system and try to cover up a few gaps over a couple more results, or would you be looking to extend, your philosophy? What do you think?
If I could take that question as a coach right now, I think your number one priority is trying to regain the confidence of your team. And right now, their team's confidence with all these losses, and in particular these 3 away losses, the way they were blown out, I think their number one priority is kind of let's go back to what we were trying to do before, and let's try to win some games, win some confidence, and then let's start trying to build back the system of play of trying to attack other teams. I mean, there's 10 or 9 other games left in the season or
10.
something like that. 10. I mean, they have a lot of opportunity to try that stuff again. But right now, I think the key is to just regain the confidence of the team, and that's the number one. That should be their number one priority.
And I'm just gonna give you something to chew on. I'm not sure if he's gonna be their manager by the end of the week. Not because he's
Why?
gonna get sacked, but I'm very intrigued to see if he takes the Guimarães job, if it is indeed open for him. Because
And listen, that would be a good fit. That would be a good stop for
exactly
him
right,
right
and
away.
it's more interesting. They normally have more money, you know. So we
No,
might not even see
I
him at
disagree.
Rio. So
I disagree,
why?
Peter. I disagree that they have more money. No, they might not have no more. I would say that because
I don't know.
remember,
It depends because I
Rio
think I don't know. Guimarães made it to Europe too. Don't forget about that.
no, but time out. Let's not forget Rio Ave made millions of euros with the sale
Right, with
of
Ederson.
Ederson.
Right.
Okay, and
Fair
didn't they
point.
make another guy? And who was another guy? There wasn't somebody
Uh,
else.
I'm trying to
Oh
think, see if I remember.
Marcelo and Ruben Ribeiro. They sold
No, but
them.
Marcel,
So
Marcel's a free transfer, I believe. But
okay, well,
they sold
Ruben
him.
Ribeiro. Okay, so
Okay.
you're making money off those two guys, right? I mean,
Right, fine, but
you,
Guimarães is a more appealing market. Like you can catch
understood,
players easily, right? If you if
but no,
you
but Guimarães.
if you're Hiwab or if you're Guimarães, it's easier for you to get a better young talent to play in Guimarães than to play in Hiwab. That's my opinion too.
But
So that
I
also
understand.
adds to it.
I understand the markability of the club, but here's the problem. Guimarães has been struggling financially the last couple of years. Remember, they've sold a lot of guys, their key guys. They sold most of their key guys. They've been investing in coaches that will give the opportunity to youth players from their academy. And they've had some success with some of those players that they've brought up. But at the same time, the results are just not showing. And now, the panic has set in, and they want to get rid of this guy. They already got rid of Pedro Martins, which to me is a little unfortunate for him. But at the same
I
time, I
think it was coming.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the team lost confidence in Pedro Martins, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah, it's not to say
but
he's a bad coach. Honestly do not believe that. I think he's a good manager. I just don't
if
think he
I
was. If he could
if
continue
I
there,
was
right?
Rio Ave, if I was Rio Ave president right now, I would pretty much be saying this. I am not going to let go of Miguel Cardozo. If they're really trying to implement a system of play for the next couple of years, you definitely do not want to sell or let that coach go, because he's doing everything possible to start building that team's chemistry for the next couple of years. That's just my
Okay, I do
personally
opinion.
agree
wouldn't
with you
go
there.
either.
I'm sorry?
I personally wouldn't go either because I think looking at Guimarães and I think Pedro Martins suffered with the squad at his disposal. They lost a lot of key members like Bruno Gaspar, Marega, Zungu was an important player last season, and I think by the end of it they realised
Suarez.
we can't lose Rafinha. Yeah, exactly. Suarez halfway through. If they'd lost Rafinha, I fear for what that squad would look like right now. But they didn't replace him, did they? They didn't replace well enough, and I personally think Khuyav has a stronger side and perhaps just as interesting project as Guimarães have now. Obviously, Guimarães are a more prestigious club. Traditionally, they're fourth or fifth biggest team in Portugal. But I think Cardoso has a lot going for him at Rio Ave. If that's me in his shoes, I'm staying.
I'm going to agree with you 100%. I wouldn't leave for the Guimarães job. In particular, they don't have a lot of spending money anywhere, to do anything. And I mean, they're in trouble right now.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, what they have to do is they have to find a way to invert the process. I mean, remember, and they're also going to lose their most valuable player at the end of the season, which is Rafinha, who is,
Right, but
well,
whatever. Like I don't know. I'm also talking a little bit with heart here, but like if he at least if he takes the Guimarães job, he already has 10 games to see exactly, you know, the what the players are and how he can replace Rafinha and stuff like that, which makes it a little bit easier. If he is to take the job, I would take it probably now than instead of the end of the season. But that's just me. If he takes the
but
job,
here's right, if he takes the job. But the problem is that okay, once I lose Rafinha, how much money can we invest in the actual roster? And there's probably not much. And
but
he's
that's
going to
something
have to figure out a.
they have to discuss. It's things that we do not know. So
And right
it's
now,
also hard.
Rio Ave holds all the cards because a lot of their players, if you compare them to value, they're more valuable than Guimarães players.
Oh, I can't
And
doubt
it's
that.
not even by look. You cannot doubt that. Would you say you agree with me or disagree with me?
I can't doubt that. I
Uh,
agree with you. I can't doubt that.
Yeah, so I mean, if I was them, no way, I wouldn't. If I was him, I'd be like, thank you, but no, thank you. I'm gonna stay here.
All right. So moving on now, then, Patrick, I'll let you also take again the Sporting lineup and all that because I know you wanted to talk about the formation. Which, by the way, I just want to give you a quick spoiler. I had no idea that Montero was playing. I didn't notice. So
Yeah,
when he
well,
came off at halftime, I was like, "Who did he break off?" And my dad said, "Was like Montero," and I was like, "What? He was playing?"
yeah,
So that
that's essentially part of my gripe with 4-4-2. But we'll run through the team real quick. So usual backline of Patricio. This time with Bruno Fernandes at left back, but Mateo Coates at the heart of the defence with Pacini on the right. Two men in the middle of the park were William and Bruno Fernandes, with Acuna on the left, Gelson on the right, and this time Freddie Montero comes in to couple Bastos, who was back from injury. And what I'd like to touch upon here is, to me, I think Sporting plays its best football when they play it through their most influential players, which to me is Bruno Fernandes and William. I think the best way to do that is to free him up with an extra man like Battaglia, an intense player. He sweeps up um, around the two and gives them that little bit more creative freedom to, you know, to create further up the field. Um, no, the opposition to that is playing a 4-4-2, and as I've touched upon, me, I don't think they have that second striker down to a T. I think Freddie Montero has nice characteristics as a striker, but he's someone who's had success as a lone striker everywhere he's gone. As a second striker, I think he's a player who he disappears too much in games, and you can't afford that when you're meant to be the link between midfield and attack. And that happened against Dondala. I think Sporting started slowly. Um, Dondela then scored quite early with a pass around the corner from Domine, and I think it was Cardozo who finished in at the near post, and that's something that could be a problem for Sporting because with the games coming thick and fast, if you keep finding yourself in a position where you're not playing as well as you can, and on top of that you have to chase results from a goal down, that takes a lot out of you. I'd much rather Sporting stick to a set formation with their best players playing in the best positions, catch some rhythm again, and look to finish teams off and then relax, then manage the games. But anyway, moving on, Sporting began to impose themselves a little bit more, a lot more regimented with the crosses. It wasn't really methodical, with a lot of crosses coming in. First goal comes from a Cunha cross. Dost is there to finish it off. And we could have had a second just before half time as well with Mathieu. We were unlucky on that instance. But coming into the second half, same story. This time Montero had already come off straight away. He was hooked off for Dumbia. He was a different striker, but again, he's a striker who to me, he's better as a lone striker, someone who runs into the channels. It could work with Dost, but I just think he's better as a lone striker, and we play better with a 4-3-3. Just as we're beginning to liven up and Jesus makes the change to bring Ruben Ribeiro on, is when Jeremy Mathieu gets his red card. Pivotal moment in the game for me. I feel sympathetic because I don't think his first challenge, which he gets his initial booking, I don't think that's a yellow card to me. But in any case, with an experienced player like that, you can always, feel a bit let down. You should never put your hands in anyone's face, and some refs may even give a straight red for that. I don't know. But it was disappointing to see from that point onwards because what it did was it left Bruno Fernandes alone in midfield, which I personally think was irresponsible of Jesus to maintain, and it had William Carvalho retreating into a sort of defensive midfielder / centre back hybrid role. And we just, as a structure, Sporting weren't able to create anything at all. And sometimes just because you've got two strikers on the pitch, it doesn't mean you're going to get goals. You need a base to work off, and there was just nothing there for Sporting. Eventually, which is the hot topic. The goal comes. To take you through that whole passage, there's about 20 seconds left, if I'm not mistaken, around the 93rd minute and 40 something seconds.
Yep.
And Tondela player goes down. The referee lets play go on a little bit and then stops it around the 20 seconds remaining mark to go check up on him. But bear in mind there's 20 seconds left and play resumes around the 96th, somewhere close to the 96th minute, past the 96th, but close to it. So from that point of view, with 20 seconds left, at most, I have to accept that most the game stretches to the 97th minute and then it ends. I remember there was a play when, I can't remember who it was, Coates had gone up front at that stage. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Gelson or Piccini. Someone fizzes it in and Coates tries to control it, but he can't get enough. He can't cushion it.
Yeah, and the ball goes up for a goal
and
kick.
The ball goes out. In my head, I thought, right, that's it. Game's done. Referee's going to blow up. And, like, consciously, I just zoned out. I was looking at the screen, but I wasn't even processing what was going on. And by the time I realised this is already the 98th minute, so we're looking at least a minute overtime of what I was expecting. Coates scores, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, hang on, why is the game not ended? And then basically it all ensues. I can't sit here and defend the fact that we scored in overtime. It's not acceptable. I'd be bitter myself had it happened to my team. It could have happened to my team because we all forget we're down to 10 men. And I think if Tondela are brave enough, they could swamp our lone man midfield and cause some damage because they had fresh legs up top as well. So if I'm a Tondela fan, I come away a little bit disappointed, not just because of the decision, but also how my team reacted to the red card. I think if they had played their cards right, they might have been able to pinch something. But imagine if Tondela had pinched something as well late on, which is plausible. I don't think that there's any reason to bat away criticism. It was a goal that essentially shouldn't have stood, and that's my standpoint. It happens. It happens to some. It won't be the first time or last time to happen. Just so happens to be that we got the luck of the refereeing decision this time and got the win. But it's almost bittersweet. Well, it is bittersweet.
All right. So I wanna say that that Sporting. I thought when Cynthia said, I think she said that she missed the first half, and I said you just missed Sporting, missed two sitters. I honestly thought that I was going to be here today talking about how Sporting didn't take their chances and they didn't win the game because they had plenty of chances to score. I mean, it wasn't. It wasn't like 10 chances, but they had at least like 4 or 5 chances to put the ball in the net. And the fact of the matter is that they didn't manage to do it. And obviously, there's also that controversial kind of penalty call that I don't know if Bruno will want to talk about it, so I'll let him talk about it then if he wants to. But and then the game gets to the 90th minute, and I thought 4 minutes was a good time. I had to step away for about 10 minutes, but I didn't think a lot happened. It was just the red card that I had missed. But it is what it is. 4 minutes I thought was acceptable, and then I see the player go down, and I'm like, please God, do not stop the play, because I just had this stupid feeling that he was going to extend the game over a ridiculous amount of time. Because first of all, the first thing that comes to my mind is, how is that not a foul when he's right into he's watching that play? I don't know how he lets that play go on, because it is a foul. Of course, like you said, I agree with you that William got unlucky, but it is a foul. It could very well be a yellow card. Maybe it is very deserving of a yellow card, but the fact of the matter is he stops the play with 20 seconds left, and some people were saying he limped off the field at the 95th something minute, and it doesn't matter. the game. We had 20 more seconds of added time to go. We didn't have 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes because if the player was down on the field for 10 minutes, the referee wasn't going to compensate 10 minutes. He was going to compensate the 20 seconds that he was supposed to. So obviously, once the ball goes off for a goal kick, I even hear a whistle, and I'm like, okay, that's it. That's the end of the game. But the game goes on, and then I see punting of the ball everywhere, and I see Rui Patricio shooting the ball into the midfield. The ball doesn't even get past that. Then the Tondela player shoots it back to Patricio, and then Patricio puts it back forward. And I'm like, this is where he's going to end the game, surely. But no, he allowed Sporting to have two more attacks after that. And in the last one, they scored. Not only there's also doubt if Dumbia was obstructing the goalkeeper. Coates takes his freaking shirt off and he doesn't get a yellow. How does so that's two mistakes. The one of the added time, or three. One the added time, two the goal that could have been disallowed, and then not giving him a yellow card for taking his shirt off. I mean, what happened?
Isn't it four mistakes?
What,
Peter, isn't it
what's the
four
fourth?
mistakes?
I mean, the penalty.
William Carvalho not getting a red card.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. If you wanna add that one too, because I think it could be a red card too. But
I don't think it's a red card. It can never be a red card. I think I can accept it being a yellow because obviously, it hurts the Tondela player. It catches him high on the leg, but initially we have to look at the initial idea from William, and that's to win the ball with an outstretched leg and play it across field. And to do that, he has to swing. He has to swing the leg. And to be fair to William, he gets the ball completely. But once he does that, there is nowhere for his leg to go other than clash into the next man's shin. I think it's unfortunate. Okay, the referee could blow up. He may even be able to give a yellow card, but with the intention that I think William had, which was to play the ball across the field, to then get a red for that, having actually played the ball across the field, I think to get a red for that would be really harsh for me.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Maybe
But
not
anyway,
red, but I think a yellow would have been okay because when I played soccer, and even at home, if I think I'm stepping on the stupid cat's tail, I throw my body to not step down and put pressure on the thing. So if I know, kicking a ball I know is different, but when I played soccer, I'd kick the ball and I was defense, so I had people coming at me. I would try not to hurt people. And Tondela, even their account, they plastered his picture everywhere, and they were like, here's us faking time, and the dude has a disgusting bruise on the ankle. That sucks.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's why I think it was a harsh foul.
Game, really.
So no, I think a yellow card is more than acceptable.
Yeah, I think a yellow's enough. I think a red would be harsh, but yeah, I think a yellow.
I think a red we could very well see a red. I don't think it would surprise.
Well, some refs, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but the yellow card. But anyway, what happened those final 5 minutes? Because it's ridiculous, Bruno. What do you?
Well,
come on.
I mean, let's call it the way it is. He gave 4 minutes. The player got hurt with about 20 seconds left, correct?
Mm-hmm. It is 20 seconds, and then he takes a minute and a half on the floor, putting them at 95. And then
right, but that
continues to give them another.
20... Right. So to me, him laying on the floor is irrelevant. There's 20 seconds left on the clock. The moment that he puts the ball back in play, he counts 20 seconds off. Game is over.
Exactly.
He redid the extra time.
So, in my opinion, he messed up on not giving William Carvalho a red card. Is a yellow card acceptable? All right, I can accept it, but I think it's more a red than a yellow. That's number one. Then you have the time, and then you have the second yellow not given to Coates for taking off his shirt. Because if you look at it, they would be going home to Moreirense with no center backs, I believe, or no starting center backs.
No starting center backs
for next game.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of this day, I mean, we have to really look at it. I mean, Sporting got away with one. But this is going to go back to what I've been always saying. Doesn't matter if it's on Tiki Taka or Three Tukas podcast. João Capella for the last 3 years has should have been demoted into the second class of referees. He always when the going gets rough, all of a sudden he makes up an injury or some type of illness where he takes all this time off till the end of the year and then he can't get demoted due to the ruling. So the guy survives and he continues to survive. He's a terrible referee. He should not be not even in the first division, but not even in the second division. He's just that awful. The question is, how has he been number one a referee all this time, and two, how did he even become an international referee at a short period
That's
of
what I want
time?
to know.
I'll give you the answer. And the answer is
You're gonna be the pads.
Frank Vargas.
Okay. What is that? What
Frank
is that?
Frank Vargas? No,
Yeah.
what's his name? The guy,
From the
o gajo
emails.
de Coimbra, pá.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't read the emails, so sorry about that. I don't know who he is.
I forget what's his name. Oh, Nuno, no sei qué, or whatever. I don't know what his name is, but é lá banana qualquer. But
All right.
uh,
Anyway,
that's my opinion. I mean, Sporting got away with one. I do want to say this because I know Steph he's been telling me. I was talking about Steph. I mean, and he said, "Look, did he go over? Yes, but the problem is that there was a precedent started back with Benfica and the Belenenses game,
no,
and
but
I think
why do people? It's a completely different. It's a completely different. Uh, oh my god! Like, sorry to cut you off, Bruno. I'll let you go. But let me just say that the difference here was that Bruno Paixão used the VAR and he decided to give an extra minute for that. And inside of that extra minute, Jonas gets fouled. Whatever comes after, it doesn't matter. That's why I defend Sporting at Feirense when they got a penalty too. I think it was like inside of the 93rd minute, and then it was only kicked on the 97th minute. But that was just because of all the players pushing around, the referees. It's just it happens. That's why the time got extended so much. It wasn't because it was a foul on the 97th minute. No, the foul was inside the 95th minute. It was only everything that takes to set up the free kick or to set up the penalty for Sporting that allowed the time to go that over. So that argument by Sportingistas is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen because we didn't get those calls in the 99th minute. We got those calls inside of the regular time. Whatever it takes to set up the free kick is completely different.
I
But
just want
sorry,
to
Bruno.
jump.
well, I'm just
Sorry,
I'm,
can I just jump
go
in? I
ahead,
just want to
go
say that
ahead, Patrick, go ahead.
I remember watching that game, and I went back to look at it again, and from what I remember, there was a throw in, and that was precisely the moment that I felt, and my calculations then proved that the game should have ended. When the ball goes up for a throw, and time is basically up, that's when the referee blows. But he allows the throw to come back on, and then that's when Jonas wins the foul. But we can't honestly compare. For example, if I was to say the Benfica game went overtime, yeah, it probably did, but it was by one quick play. The Sporting one was by a minute and a half, and whatnot. So they're in two completely different worlds. So I don't think they're entirely comparable.
Thank you, Patrick.
But they're
Now go
throwing
on,
them in
Bruno.
our faces. Check my Twitter. I'm getting attacked.
Bruno.
Oh, I mean that's basically what I got to say about that game. I mean, listen, it's a point that I mean, it's actually 3 points that Sporting was salvaged. Sportingistas are going to argue that Capella owed them something like this for a couple of years now because he's robbed them in the past. I agree with them
Yeah,
because
also
Capella
remember,
has robbed.
I remember him red carding Cardoso for punching the grass. I have never seen a decision like that.
Yeah.
Well,
That was a couple of years back against Sporting too. That was so stupid.
if you can compare the two. I'm always gonna. I mean, I'm gonna say the same thing. I think Sporting has a lot of razões de queixa of Capella. In the past, if you analyze, he's helped out Out of the big three, he's helped out Benfica way more than he's helped out the other two by
Mm-hmm.
far. But that. There's no excuse. I mean, this was a major mistake. It is what it is. I mean, we're not going to see Quach getting the yellow because he should have gotten one. That was a technical error. Now we're going to see what's going to happen. Is Capella going to all of a sudden become
I
hurt again?
think I think I think I think I read something on I don't know which journal it was, but it was on the cover that he's set aside. He's been set aside. I'll go and look at that up real quick for you if you want me to.
So
It
it's
shouldn't take long.
basically
So
for Pajarra,
yeah, I think
right?
so. But I'll verify. Yeah, but I'll verify that for you in just a moment.
Just on
Okay, but I
Coates,
mean,
yeah, just on
go
Coates, I'd
ahead.
like to say that personally, if he'd gotten the yellow card and eventually gotten suspended, I personally wouldn't mind that. I was talking to Peter earlier, or yesterday, about the situation, and I'd comfortably take that gamble because what's going to happen now is this whole yellow card thing is going to be over his head. The spotlight's going to be on Quartes against Morenes, and all of a sudden, if he gets a yellow card in that game, he misses the Porto game, and that's the game I don't want Coates to miss out on, even though his form
Bye.
has been a bit sketchy.
All right. Yeah,
Bye.
and just Bruno. Record has on their covers that, and I quote, João Capella vai descansar, with the descansar under quotations. So there you go.
No, yeah, he'll be out for a while, but that doesn't necessarily stop. I mean, I would love to see his rating
Yeah,
because that has got to be
me
one.
too.
Last year, the reason why he's all of a sudden he picked up a, he said it was an eye injury. He couldn't see correctly. That was the game.
And we let him
Unbelievable.
back. That's
And how
great.
is he a referee? How is he a referee
Ah.
then?
Um,
Unbelievable.
that was the game where he missed three penalties in favor of Porto and one in Chaves in the Taça de Portugal game where Porto got
Oh
eliminated
God, I remember that
in the
one. Yeah, you
in
got
the in
yeah.
the in the penalty shootout. So I mean that guy he shouldn't have been in the first division for quite some time now, but he
If he
somehow
can't see, he
remains
doesn't belong
there.
in the second division either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is what
Well,
it is.
pá, é um cego, que
Uh,
queres?
Get him out of here.
yeah, yeah. All right. So Bruno, I don't have the. I tried getting the lineup, but I couldn't be asked going through the substitutions. So Porto played the second half against Estoril today. Uh,
Let me
so
see if I
just
can get it.
yeah, I'll let you. I'll let
I'm,
you. I'll just go. I'll
I'm
speak real
gonna.
quick about it. That I felt like 20 seconds in when Maraga gets that big chance against Surreal, I thought that that set the tone for the game, and
I have
it
it.
ended up being a 3-1 win. All right, and I got
I
the
have
scoreline
it.
right, by the way.
Casillas in goal. Maxi, Felipe Marcano and Dells in the back. Herrera and Oliveira in the middle. Corona and Brahimi on the outside. Marega and Tiki Suarez up top for the second
All right,
half of this game.
all
Now,
right.
keep
So
in
what
mind
did you
that
think
in
about it?
Estoril had 10 players out. Porto had 8 players out because due to between regulations and um,
Injury.
injuries and suspensions, that was the total for both teams. Listen, I thought that this is what Porto exactly needed. They needed to score a goal in the first 10 minutes of the second half. They did that. Sturiel never looked comfortable. They looked like they were just playing not to lose. When you play not to lose, well, guess what? You usually
You
lose.
lose.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Porto got a second goal very soon after that. But I think Porto had actually took a tremendous loss today, which was Alex Telles. It looks very, very serious that he is hurt. Um, I personally think it's an ACL tear. I've seen that look before. And I had an ACL tear myself. Those things are nowhere near fun. This is something that I think he has. They're saying that it might be a twisted knee. I cannot imagine him with a twisted knee after that pain. That pain I've seen in someone's face many times before. That looks like a torn ACL,
Season ender.
unfortunately. with the torn ACL. I mean, he'll come back somewhere in the middle of. Let's
Oh,
see, we're
torn
looking at
ACL. That's maybe next season.
Yeah.
no, without
Like,
question next season. That's a
but yeah,
9 month
like
injury.
January, something around that, maybe,
That's a nine
maybe a
month.
little bit
That's a nine
earlier.
month injury. No, he'll come back in like maybe November
November.
of next
Yeah,
year. Yeah,
yeah,
November of next year for sure.
yeah. But it's gonna be
I
tough.
mean, if it confirms that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, that's tough. Uh, does any? All right. So I thought that Porto deserved to win this very comfortably. Does anybody want to add to the game before I just get to the one play that I want to discuss, and then we can all go our separate ways?
Well, just to touch on, just to follow on from Bruno about Alex Telles, it'll be a big blow for Porto, and a big price to pay for this game. Because not only is he like the player, the man for set pieces, which Porto are so strong at, but the width he provides in a team like Porto's that hasn't got many fullbacks as of right now. It's priceless, and he's got great delivery on him from crosses in open play. What I imagine will happen now is Dalot will fill in at left back, but obviously Dalot is a right-footed player, so you'll see him coming inside a lot more. That might conflict a bit with the movements that Brahimi likes to do. But nevertheless, it could be a nice variety with the crosses that go into the box. But on the flip side, you're asking a 33-year-old Maxi Pereira to provide the width and bomb up and down. I don't know how that will translate into Porto's game, like that intense attacking style, because obviously we know Marega likes to join the striker a lot more. I don't know if we'll start seeing Corona start on the wings to provide that width. If not, I think we're going to see a Porto team that might look a bit narrow at times, and I'm not sure. In those difficult games when you need to stretch the play and need to find an answer, get a goal to change things. It pays to be wide. If you're narrow in those sorts of games, it might be problematic. And I'm just looking at that tells Alex Telles' injury and wondering how big of a blow it might actually be, other than just on face value a good player being
And
out.
think with the set
I
pieces
will
and everything.
I will answer that question for you. I mean, how big of a loss is it? You're talking about Porto's most consistent player all season long. That's how big of a
Yeah,
loss it
exactly.
is. I mean, we can talk about the most influential player. I think Brahim is the most influential player. Are
Yeah,
you
definitely.
talking about if you're talking about Porto's best goal scorer? I mean, there's an argument.
Suarez to
Abubakar,
me.
Suarez, Morega. Which one of those three you I mean right now it's Suarez, right? Because he's on a hot foot.
Yeah, but
But
he's my pick since the start of the season. So just saying.
okay, but all right, that's an argument. That you have your opinion. You ask another person, they're going to say Marega. You're going to ask me. I'm going to say Bubakar. Whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to have a different an opinion. But the one common denominator, the most consistent player that we had without question was Alex Telles, and that's a huge loss. And yes, I do agree with what Patrick said. It's a right-footed player, but remember, is now Porto going to play Ricard Pereira at right back and Dalot left
Oh,
back?
he could play on the.
Is
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but
or you can
because
play.
I
Ricardo
said that
can
with
play on the
Ricardo being
left.
out as well.
He can. Yes, Ricard Pereira can play. Is it going to be Maxi Pereira right back? Ricard Pereira at left back? Is it going to be Maxi and Dalot? While Ricard Pereira is recovering from injury because he's out for a month. So there's a lot of issues right there. And I never really agreed with Layun being loaned
Yeah.
out. I want to say this now, and I'll reemphasize this because some people might out there be like, "Oh, but he said no." I said that I understood why Layun wanted to leave. Did I agree with it? No, but the player requested to leave. There's a difference of a club saying, no, you leave because you're not playing. No, he requested to leave. He wanted more playing time. He requested to leave. And when a player does not want to be somewhere, you're better off letting him go before it becomes a cancer. And that's what Porto did. I thought they did the right thing and let him go because of, him not being a cancer. And then after that, things worked out. things. But unfortunately, things are not working out now that Del's got hurt. But I think all in all, it was a great result. I think this was one of the key games going down the stretch that Porto, and I will say this because I also want to mention this before I forget. I guarantee you, now that Porto won this game, there will be an immediate decision on that whole controversy with the bancada. I guarantee you there will be a quick decision about this shortly after today's game.
All right. So I just wanna touch on the offside goal. Can we all agree that it was an offside goal?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's not offside.
Oh my god. Okay.
Would you like to know that I had 3 people tweet me and say Bruno's not going to say that was offside? 3
I
of
don't
them.
know
buddy.
how he can see how he says that it's not offside. First of all, Bruno, let me run through 2 of the arguments before you throw them at me. First of all, I think that Suarez definitely touches that ball and it's Suarez's goal. Second of all, even if he doesn't touch the ball, I don't care what anybody says. He interferes with the play because he tries and had it. And third of all, he's clearly offside. Every single Porto player on that play is offside. All 3 of them. And even to make it even worse, the referee, the linesman, is incredibly well placed. And to make it even far worse was that the VAR could not see that he was offside. When even I that have a lot of difficulty seeing offside saw that on the naked eye that it was offside, just like Patrick did, like he told me off air, just like Cynthia did, just like a lot of people did. And I'm not seeing where his foot is putting him on side. I don't see any of that bullcrap. I see his body, half of his body, clearly offside. So go ahead and try and tell me why it's not offside.
I see only an arm offside.
His body's
Arms
offside.
don't constitute as his arm constitutes as offside. Number one.
No, it
number
doesn't.
two.
I know that.
Number 2. If in case of doubt, you always favor the attacker. Maybe the VAR was in doubt. Maybe the referee's in doubt. If that's the case, it benefits the attacker. So there goes that argument. So those Twitter guys, you can
There's
go
no
take
doubt.
a walk.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, there's no doubt in an offside. Either on or off.
The Twitter people, the Twitter community could go take a walk.
It's offside, but
and-
okay. The Portista says it's onside, but that's fine.
Hey,
They all
listen,
do.
there was a play called offside on Porto this year where he was 3 meters onside. We all know that game, do we? Do we not know that game?
Listen.
You're not
Oh my
owed
God,
an
he's not-
offside because one was
Yeah.
miscalled. What the shit is
Exactly.
this
And-
entitlement happening in our Liga?
Yes.
Is this
I'm
a
just
joke?
saying.
Uptown, Credo, come on.
And second of all, by the way, on that play, yes, it is clearly onside, but to tell you, the VAR at least could not interfere on that play. He could not fix that mistake, but he could have fixed that mistake today, and he didn't fix that mistake. And it's because of bullshit like that where people say, "Oh, but 500 games ago, I didn't get that penalty. That should have been a penalty, so now I'm going to get a penalty, and screw you." No, it's that bullshit. That's bullshit. And it's also that Porto hypocrisy where when Sporting got that very late goal that gave him the win, Sporting is just said, "It doesn't matter. We got the 3 points in the bag." And the producers were like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." And then 2 days later, they get that offside goal, which I don't think it would have even mattered. I think you guys would have won anyway, so I'm not discussing that. But what do they say? 3 points in the bag. It doesn't matter.
Cynthia,
So when you're being targeted, it doesn't matter.
I have a question for you and the Twitter folks. Is anyone on Twitter complaining how Porto didn't get that PK called?
One was, yeah.
But they're complaining about it or no?
No, you had one, yep.
But they're not
You
complaining
had
about
one
it, are
on
they?
your side. You had one on your side, 3 against.
Yes, but the
Get
Twitter
Twitter
community
so
is-
they can just attack you. It'd be easier for me.
It's just
Twitter-
people
the
giving their
Twitter
opinion.
community is not complaining about that. That's what I want them to complain about. They have to complain about things like that. If they want to talk about injustice, talk about that. That was a clear penalty where the VAR referee, the assistant VAR, and the mother of the VAR, and the father of the VAR, and the dog of the VAR.
gone out of Portuguese football.
Why? You don't like
Without
it?
a doubt. No, I want it gone. It only causes more controversy. It
No, not
allows
really.
teams to get. No, yes, really. First of all, Benfica had a penalty, which to me is nowhere near a penalty. Yes, it's not a dive because it touches Servi, but to me it's not a penalty. And then a couple minutes later, it's a clear handball by the Boavista player, and the referee can't do anything about it because the ball didn't go out of play. The ball only went out of play 2 minutes later, where nothing could have done about about that play. And then there were several goals that have been wrongly allowed and wrongly disallowed. It's been nothing but a huge fucking mess, and the VAR is useless in Portugal. I don't care. Look, it works great in Germany. Awesome. It works great in Italy. Awesome. It works great in England. Awesome. It works great in Spain. Awesome. If it doesn't work in Portugal, I don't want it. I don't want something that's broken. I want something that's working. If it's not working, then I don't want it. And what I think that Portugal should have done in the first place was have this whole season under the VAR protocol, but where the VAR could not interfere with the game. It would be a whole year of everybody getting adjusted to the VAR and see how well it would have worked, how many plays they would have gone differently, and then we would have talked about it. Because the deficit is clearly extremely negative if we go and watch the VAR. It has definitely hurt more plays than others. And the one thing that I said that should have completely didn't avoid, which was the offside goals, where we had offside goals, even in Benfica's favor, even in Porto's favor, in Sporting's favor, and against several teams. And the one thing that it should have clearly stopped, it hasn't stopped, which is the offside goal. So to me, I don't want the VAR in Portugal because it's something that's broken. If it's broken, I don't want it. It's only going to cause more
I don't think
controversy
it's the
because we have the
VAR,
plays.
the refs. I
Yeah.
think.
Thank you.
I think we've
Thank you,
mentioned this
Cynthia.
before.
The people.
Well,
bro.
because
Finally.
wasn't there a game?
Fine.
Wasn't there a game? Maybe not this past weekend, but like last weekend. I think it was this past weekend. And my Twitter went off the chain. Everybody was like, "This is how VAR should run. This is perfect."
No,
And
Thank
but
there were
listen,
you,
calls
Cynthia.
what do you want me to
Thank
both
call
you,
it?
sides.
What
It
do you want me to
worked.
call it then? I can't. Listen, I'm
It's
calling
the
the VAR.
refs,
I'm not
man.
calling.
It's
Yeah,
Capella. If
but what am I
Capella doesn't
supposed to call
do it,
it?
Capella doesn't do it. It's
If
that type of stupid mentality.
okay, but if I'm not allowed to call it the VAR, then what should I call it? It's the
The
referees.
refs.
Oh, it's not
the
the
refs.
Thank you.
system. It's not. Yeah, okay. It's not the VAR
It's
system
the
that
refs,
doesn't
and it's
work.
the Liga
It's the
allowing them
people
to
behind it.
continue. Look,
Thank
Exactly.
you.
Bruno just
But that's
said
what I'm saying.
we
I
had
don't
a
want
girl
it.
at my work. She
Ah.
would claim fucking disability, and she'd stay on it. I think it was like 9 months to a year that she was allowed. She'd come back, she'd work for maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and then she'd claim disability again. Some people know how to cheat the system, and it's not right. And the Liga needs to look into that.
Allow
The
it.
Liga should be a
Allow
bigger
it.
presence.
Yeah, they allow
Okay,
it.
but
Allow
fine. People don't.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
but that's what I'm saying is be a
I
Liga.
wasn't. I
No,
wasn't.
you
I
charge
wasn't.
somebody $8.56. Shut the fuck up with that. No one's gonna give a shit.
I
Make them do their
wasn't.
job.
I wasn't trying to say that
Cynthia, finally, we agree on something.
Epa, I feel
Ugh.
sick.
You know what?
Okay,
The world is coming
guys,
to an end.
But no, Peter, I know what you're saying, but I don't think it's just
because what I
VAR.
was
It does
saying.
work properly when they use it como
But
deve ser.
But the thing is,
Thank
exactly like
you.
I'm saying, if the VAR works in every other country, but it doesn't work in Portugal, so I don't want something that's broken. But I'm not
It's
talking
not
about the
broken.
actual
It's
system.
Portugal's
It's
broken
the
then.
people behind.
No.
Exactly. But what do you want me to say? I have to say
Let's
that the
get rid of
system
these
is
refs.
broken.
Let's get new refs that don't have emails.
But guess
Let's get new
what?
refs that don't have any
That's never
fucking.
gonna happen.
Epa.
That's never gonna
Well, it's
happen.
got
It's
to.
Portugal. It's not gonna happen. It's Portugal.
Peter,
So
then you
instead of
become a
me
ref.
suffering,
Except you're not allowed to do
I'll-
Porto or Sporting games.
no,
Or
honestly,
Benfica
it
games.
doesn't. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
or
It doesn't matter
Benfica.
when
You're
you're
right,
on the
Bruno.
field. It doesn't matter when you're on the field. It doesn't matter when you're on the field. If
Oh,
you
it
can't
sure
be unbiased
does.
when on the
Capella
field,
makes a bigger
no.
difference on the field than off the field. If he's at home watching
I mean,
scores, it doesn't matter. When
I
he's
mean,
on the
come
field,
on.
Ask Bruno
I mean, come
Paixão.
on. If
Ask Bruno Paixão.
I'm gonna ask Pedro Proença why he allowed Maicon to score an offside goal, they won Porto the league. Then, so listen. The thing is,
Hold
it
on a
doesn't
second.
matter what club.
Hold
It
on.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what club. It doesn't
I
matter
love when
what club
Lampions talk
you
about that
support,
game
man.
because you always omit one major factor in that game, which is a double handball
I
on
just wanted
Cardozo.
to freaking. I just
Double
wanted to
handball is
freaking.
clear as day on Cardozo. Double
So
handball.
that doesn't.
Not one, but two
That doesn't make his
handballs.
mistake. That doesn't
he
make his
used both
mistake at the
hands.
end right. It doesn't make his mistake right. I'm trying to tell you that it doesn't matter what fucking club you support. First of all, because Padeiro or Manuel Oliveira is a Porto fan, and you were extremely annoyed at his performance, but he's a Porto fan, he's a Portista, and I know that he's a Portista, and yet you were extremely annoyed at his performance. So it doesn't matter what team the referee support. they're bad
It's who
referees,
they're
first of
influenced
all.
by. No, it's who they're influenced by. You
And
can
they
say
might
it.
also be
Say it
influenced. I
after
don't
me.
know. I don't know. Listen, if they are
But they
influenced by
shouldn't be
Benfica, then Benfica is
influenced by
doing a
it.
terrible job because Benfica has been. I mean, just for this weekend, it clearly shows that people don't want Benfica to win the league. But so if Benfica has a system in place, then it's a terrible system. But
Peter,
anyway,
stop, stop.
listen, I
Peter,
just
stop.
wanted to tell you, I
Stop,
just wanted
stop,
to
stop,
tell you
stop.
that the VAR
Stop.
is broken, and I don't want something that's only because what pisses me off about the VAR, and we got to close out the podcast real soon. But what I hate about the VAR is that it allows me to say the referees had the video, saw what we saw, and still didn't make the right call. I'm not talking about those 50-50 calls because those I won't even get to because those happen and I'm never going to complain about those. But I'm talking about where mistakes where everybody can see that was a mistake and they don't correct it. That's why the VAR to me pisses me off in Portugal is because now we know that they could see the play. Hell, they can narrow it down frame by frame and they still manage to make mistakes. That's what pisses me off about the VAR in Portugal is that they have every single. It's like you have everything handed to you on a platter and yet you can't do your job.
Yeah, you have every opportunity and they're still fucking up. No, but
Okay,
it's
that's
but
what I'm
it's not the
trying to say.
VAR. No way
That's-
I'm
it's
not.
the user.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, okay, but I said the VAR. I'm talking about everyone behind it. I'm not talking about the VAR system because I said he worked in Spain. I said he works in Italy. I said he worked in Germany. So I'm not taking a shot at the system. I'm taking a shot at everything behind it.
Yeah.
And the VAR in Portugal
Peter,
just simply doesn't work.
you know what when I talk about the VAR, you know what I see in one common denominator?
Mm.
It's always Lampions that don't want it.
Dude, I like the VAR. So you've got a faulty hypothesis there, bud.
Well,
No,
I'm saying,
okay. So if
you
you want
are.
to go
I'm
by
telling
that, then
you,
the
Cynthia.
bringers of justice, that are sporting fans,
bringers
were
of justice.
extremely happy
This sounds
when
like
they
the
won
apocalypse
again
now.
that they shouldn't have won. So if those guys that claim Verdade
I can't
Sportiva
even
left,
deal
right,
with
and
you.
center were happy that they won a game, not you, Patrick, but that they won a game that they shouldn't have won, then who cares? Those guys that talk about the Verdade Sportiva didn't care that they got helped to win that game at the end because the game should have been over. So
We
if
got
those
3
guys
points
that
in the
preach
bag. It's a win. It's those guys
exactly,
that are
if
annoying. But
if the
that's
guys that
not
preach Verdade
everybody.
Sportiva don't care how they win, I mean, listen, I am
Or
all in
that
for
they are
VAR
owed.
if
I'm
it
actually
works.
all of
I'm
our
all in for
people.
the
I'm
VAR
tired
if
of
it
you
works.
guys
It
saying you're
doesn't
owed.
work.
Stop
Peter,
It
I'm going to
doesn't
tell you
work. It doesn't
something.
work.
You sound like a hypocrite right now because
it.
we all know that the emails are true. We all the emails are not denied by your club. The only thing they're trying to do is being stopped to be released because they don't want everybody to know the
By the
truth.
way,
But by the
by the
way,
way,
but you're
the
saying
tribunal
you don't.
gave Benfica the right. About time that Porto cannot release private. Finally, they
But
finally
okay,
did
and let
something
me ask
right.
you something. Why? Why? Why?
Because
Why
it's
did they
private
want that?
information. They can't release it to the public. You can't release something
What
that's
do you
under
mean you can't?
justicia to the
It's
public.
public
You can't
knowledge.
do it. It's not
What are
public
you talking
knowledge.
about?
I'm not going to hack your text messages and post it all over social media.
Yeah, that'd be
People need
awkward.
to know. People need to
Listen,
know
I
what's
can't, but I
going on
can't do that. But I
behind
can't
the
do that
scenes.
because it's the same thing that happened with the scooters, where everybody sees Pinto da
But
Costa
okay,
talking
all
left,
that.
right, and
So
center
so
about all these
let's just
subjects and that shit got released and nothing happened. So you can
hold
say
on a
that the
second. Time
emails
out.
are true,
Time
but
out.
finally, at
So
least they stopped. I'm not
hold on a
trying to
second. So
bring
time
out
out.
the Pitorad, by the way. I was
Hold
just
on,
using the
hold
argument of
on.
the
So
evidence.
but I have to say this. So you're saying because Lampions like you say the same thing. They say, oh, well, the Pitorado, blah, blah. When the Pitorado was around, it was okay to talk about it. But now that things have turned its tide and it's going against you, now you don't want people to talk about it.
That's not
Why?
what I. Did you
Why
hear
is
me?
it that you guys are trying to? Yeah, but you're
But
trying to
did
stop
you
it. But you
hear what I
said,
said?
hold on a second.
No, I said
You
it's
just
the
talked
same thing
about
with the scoot.
Sporting fans. You just talked about Sporting fans saying that they're 3 points in the bag. They don't care how it's done. Well, you guys are winning. You guys were winning titles. You didn't care how it was done. You cheated, but you didn't care
Of
how it
course
was
I care
happening.
how. Of course I care how I win.
But that doesn't
I
sound
care
like
how I
it.
win. I care about how I win. As the only things that I told you is that I don't believe that that's what happens off the field because I like my player. I like to believe that my players worked a lot
Better
and
than
a
everybody else,
lot, and they deserve to win. Yeah, and that's how I'm
but
going
not
to
all the
perceive it,
time.
from until something actually gets proven. Just like you Should as a Porto fan we get piturado? Well, that's a lot of noise, but my players played better. That's why we won, and I'm pretty sure that's how you face things. So it's no different for me.
I mean, the only difference is that we would win leagues by over 10 points, not like 2 or 3.
But we know how. But so there you go. So see, like this is the thing. It doesn't matter anyway. Like back to the VAR though. I wasn't trying to diss the actual VAR system. Everything behind it, the people behind it,
Maybe
is what
the one
makes
that
it
has
not
the
work.
flag
Okay?
in the way. That one should be dissed.
All right. So
Patrick, would you like to step in on this one?
I know he got out of here quick.
About
He's
the
snoozing
VAR
over there.
or the email.
just I don't know anything you want to like the
About what
VAR.
we're
anything you want to
fighting.
add?
Compliment my
Look,
point. Yeah.
We had, to me, I'm in favour of the VAR, obviously, as a sporting fan. But it's not because I'm a sporting fan.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's just that I think to me it's an essential tool. It should have been made readily available a long time ago. You only have to look, and I'll give an example of something going in Sporting's favour to be impartial. You only have to look at the game against Feirense where the referee is perfectly positioned. I can't even remember who had a shot, but it hits the defender's head, and the referee calls a penalty. If that's that picture right there is a referee without VAR. Luckily, VAR exists, hallelujah, and bails him out. Otherwise, we've got a huge scandal right there. And yeah, I mean, we can go on YouTube tonight and look at all the horrific errors that were made in years gone by, and if to me, I'd much rather have VAR even working terribly. I'd much rather have that than just have referees free to judge on their minds solely and what the linesman thinks and whatnot. I'd much rather have that tool that can at least fix an error here or there. And I think they were talking about the errors that it did manage to rectify. I think it was in the high 30s, and they were considering it a success. I don't know if that's a success. I don't know what the stats are for other leagues, but those are 3 errors that 30 odd errors that have been rectified. I think that's at least positive. It's better than what we had, and to me, the problem is the people that are using VAR because the footage is all there. There will be some decisions that come down to opinion, and people will learn to accept that, as well as the time. I mean, a lot of people criticize how long it takes, but
that doesn't matter.
If
as long as you get the right
if
call.
you're gonna get the right decision, it's all worth it. And we spend hours talking about whether it would be the wrong or right decision anyway. If he calls it wrong, but I think VAR is a great thing, and we really have to work on using it.
Okay, so I'll just end this on here. I sincerely hope that if the VAR decides that a championship, like a game where this is the title decider, and I'm talking about like in the final week. I'm not talking about a Benfica Porto, none of that. That at least it makes the right decision. That's what I want. Like at least get the right call. Like if the championship is going to be decided by the VAR, at least let it be the right call. That's the thing I ask. Like, so just
we all hope that.
Yeah.
All right, we've got 2 comments. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Go for it. I'm interested.
There was sounds good. PK4196. He said not getting yellow for taking off the shirt during the celebration isn't as bad as getting a red for taking the shirt off and headbutting through the glass of the substitute's bench. Not really a question.
It's just a comment. You said a comment.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know
just
who
a comment.
PK is, so thanks for listening.
And then Rich Teixeira, he asks, how do we feel about Porto being on top of the table? And I tweeted back a cat throwing up. So there we go. How do you guys feel
All
about
right,
it?
so I'll just
Hold on a
take
second. So
this
you're saying
first,
that you
and
have
then
a
I'll let you guys.
hold on a second. Hold on. This is an important question for Cynthia. So you're saying you have hairballs?
Oh my god.
Oh no! Stop it, Bruno.
No, Bruno, what are you
I'm
doing?
just checking.
Of course.
This
Anyway,
is so
oh my
stopping
god.
you.
Let's not go back to the beginning of the pod.
How do I mute
Anyway,
him,
I'm
Peter?
just
I gotta mute him.
you can't mute him. You can, but you gotta go to control panel now. That's a lot of work. I'm just gonna say this because I've been wanting to say this for like since yesterday, and I don't know why. And then I'll let you guys go, and then I'll just talk to end the podcast.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna make the boldest statement I think I've ever made in 86 episodes of this podcast, and it's that Benfica is gonna win the title. Like that's it. Like you guys bank on episode number 86, where I say that Benfica is going to win the title.
Oh my
I
lord.
just there's it's
That's
just something that
ballsy.
I felt, and that's how I feel about Porto being 5 points ahead. So Patrick, I'll let you go next then.
Well, look, the season is long and anything can happen. Porto still got to play Benfica. They still got to play us. Obviously, it helps that they're more or less, barring the miracle, more or less out of the Champions League. So that reprioritizes things a little bit for them. But all it takes is one bad game, and all of a sudden they've got to play Benfica and Sporting as well, and anything can happen still. Sporting and Benfica may even drop points. I don't know. From now until the end of the season, it's not like I'm expecting Benfica and Sporting to win all their games and fly off from here as well. Obviously, Porto are in a good position. They're probably favourites to do it, but we're towards the end of February. A couple more months left. A lot can happen. As I touched upon, and Bruno carried on. Alex Stelge is injured as well. Danilo should be coming back soon, but he's still out. Ricardo's out. All of a sudden, these are new challenges for Porto. So let's see how they get on in the next few weeks and maybe even months, because games start to tighten up as the season goes on. Everything's still to play for.
Mm-hmm. So Cynthia, and then we'll let Bruno go last. Oh wait, you said the cat throwing up. That's your
Yeah,
answer,
I
right?
was gonna say, do you want me to put a video of it for you? What do you need here?
No. That's fine. That's fine. I'm sorry.
Sounds good.
Okay, Bruno, how do you feel being 5 points ahead?
I feel a lot better than being 5 points behind. That's for sure.
Smart ass.
Now, I don't know where you say that, you feel so confident that you're going to somehow come up with 5 points. Porto has
I
no
don't know,
losses.
man. It's just it is
Let's
what
put
it
it this
is.
way:
It's I'm
Porto
feeling.
has to
I
just
don't know.
Porto can go and tie away to Benfica.
2 games only.
No, they can go away and tie Benfica,
Mm-hmm.
and they can tie Sporting. We could still be champion. And that's the 2 games where you're hoping that Porto drops points. And then obviously somewhere in between. Do
I
I
mean,
feel that
Cremonese, like
this
this weekend.
win? I'm gonna say this. This win at Estoril, it actually hurt more Benfica and Sporting emotionally than it did Porto, because now you're like, shit, man. We just went from 2 points to 5 points, and where are they gonna drop two games? Because
Maybe to
they have to,
you.
huh?
It didn't hurt me emotionally. Maybe to any of your I
No,
don't
it's
know,
the injuries.
not
The
so
injuries is what killed us.
strong-minded people.
But
Yeah,
I'm
but I mean,
saying,
if we got heads on our shoulders, we're not going to be concerned about your shit. We're going to be concerned about our games.
well, that's the problem. Now you guys have some tough games ahead, well, just like we do. But don't think that everything is. You guys are just going to win out the rest of the year. You're going to drop points somewhere. That's for sure. You're not. You're not convincing anybody. I don't know. I don't know. Like, you guys think that you're playing so well. You've played teams that haven't played very well at
Bruno,
all.
it's just to me, it's honestly just the feeling and how things are going, and I just feel like we can overcome the deficit, and especially, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if Benfica goes 1 point ahead of Porto, it's the end of the league for them. Like if you let Benfica go first, you're done. That's all I'm gonna say.
But the thing is, you have to come away with Porto has to drop 5 points, and that's
So
still not a
it's
guarantee.
I'm looking. I was looking at the standings earlier, and it's a loss and a tie. It's not the hardest thing in the world. First of all, because it can happen this week. You guys can tie Portimonense and lose against Sporting. Obviously, it's unlikely, yeah. But it can even be the opposite. You guys may have a terrible game against Portimonense, losing Portimão, and then tie Sporting at home. Like it's not the hardest thing in the world.
And you're kind of forgetting that it could also happen to you.
Of course
Do you
it can.
like
Of
this?
course
Is
it can. But what I'm trying to say is that Porto aren't these unbeatable monsters. They can be taken. If that game against Estoril is finalized, they don't win that game. They don't win that game. By the way that the game was going, Porto can have an off day again.
They could, but they didn't.
That's all I'm gonna say, man. Yeah, but that's all I'm gonna say, man.
Well, we'll see
Things
how
don't know.
important Telege is. We'll see.
Yeah, that's
I mean, right now, you're this one. Everyone was already banking that Porto was going to lose this game,
man.
and it blew up in their face. Now everybody's complaining about the officiating.
I told City that Porto was going to win 3-1 before the game even started.
Yeah, he just ruins everything all the time.
So well, I mean, listen, tens que fazer mais passeios por aí para o Porto ganhar.
All right, but I don't know if Patrick wants to say something else before we close out the pod.
No, I just wanted, to say the game against Moreirense, we never expected Porto to drop points there. You never know when one of those games comes along, or maybe two on the spin. I don't know. I know Benfica isn't going to win every single game. But, well, if they could, but I doubt it. I doubt Sporting will as well, and obviously doubt Porto will. I think Porto are, as I said, Porto are the favourites, not just because they're 5 points clear, but obviously I think they're out of the top three, they're the team that's played the best football continuously. But not always the team that's played the best or happens to be top in February or whatever. 5 points clear is the one that wins.
Exactly. There we go.
We're in February. There's a lot of stories to be told yet, and
10 more games, right? 10 more jornadas.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Sporting are right in there as well. It's not just Benfica and Porto.
No, exactly. Sporting's there too.
Benfica. We'll see. We'll see what it goes on. I think Porto are favourites, but let's see how things pan out, because I think it's way too early to be having these sorts of calculations about being champions and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm not speaking out of
there's no fact or anything. This is out of his heart.
Yeah. I don't. It's just a vibe, a feeling that I have, and obviously
he's just gassy, guys.
No. It's something that is been boiling up, and I don't know why.
Peter, do they have Pepto-Bismol over there in Portugal?
Do we what?
Pepto-Bismol.
It's this pink liquid to help you with heartburn, upset stomach, diarrhea.
No idea.
That's what you're feeling. It's not the feeling. That's what you're feeling.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So anyway, we've almost gone 2 hours, so we need to get out of here.
There was a lot of bullshit this week.
Yeah,
we got to get predictions.
Yep.
Predictions, no?
That's right. That was
tomorrow,
one of the longest podcasts
Sporting
ever.
play Astana at 1 p.m.
Let Sportingista go first.
Yeah, Patty.
2-1 Sporting. Keep it nice and clean. 2-1.
Okay. 4-0 Sporting.
Epa.
Cynthia, you can go now if you want.
2-0 for Sporting.
Brun.
She picked mine. I'll say 3-0 Sporting.
Okay. You can pick it too, you weirdo. What's this
All
about?
right.
No, I can't.
Anyway, so Benfica, Paços Ferreira. Paços Ferreira, Benfica. I'll let the hater go first. Bruno.
Who's Paços Ferreira, Benfica?
Yeah, we go there Saturday.
2-0 Benfica.
All right. I say 2-1 Benfica.
Patty?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to agree as well. 2-1 Benfica, I think. 1-1 and then Benfica with a late winner or something.
Oh,
like
we're
that.
gonna pull a Sporting, are we? Yeah.
Hopefully
No,
not
Yeah,
in the
not,
99th minute, though. I
103rd
need my
minute.
heart. I need my heart,
103rd
please.
minute.
They'll be playing when we have
Don't
the
worry.
pod. Jesus.
It'll be the 103rd minute.
Yeah, are we sure that the Sporting game is over?
I actually tweeted that today. I was like, legend has it that they're still playing.
Okay.
Just being an ass. I say 2-0 for Benfica. And then
All
we've
right.
got Portimonense and Porto on Sunday.
Bruno, back to you.
I'm gonna say 4-2 Porto.
Jesus, that's a big scoreline.
Yeah, it is.
3-1 Porto.
I think it'll be high scoring as well, so I'm gonna go for 3-2 to Porto.
Cynthia.
I'm going to say 2-2.
Okay, I was expecting Cynthia to go against us.
5-0
this time we'll be
for
right.
Portimonense.
No, that's fine. I hope you're right.
No, 2-2.
And the last game, Sporting Moreirense. So, Pat.
Who, sorry?
Sporting hosts
Moreirense.
Moreirense on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you just
3-0.
played Astana on Thursday.
Yeah,
And then you
don't
play
worry
Porto
about
on
that.
Friday.
3-0. Comfortable.
Okay. I'm going to say 1-1. Simply because Petit.
Oh, I love Petit.
Horrible
Isn't he so
manager.
great?
Horrible manager.
Hater. Well, for that,
He
I
is
say
pretty bad.
2-0 for Moreirense. Toma lá. Jeez.
He is pretty bad, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Stop it. It's
So,
Petit.
somebody
The
else,
national treasure.
Cynthia or Bruno, who's going to take next?
2-0 for
I'm gonna-
Moreirense. That's what I said.
Jeez.
2-0 Moreirense.
Yeah, because Petit is going to get it. Leave him.
What is she?
No, I do think Sporting is due a dropping some points in the league. They should have dropped this weekend. So they didn't drop this weekend. They'll drop. Oh wait, they're playing at home, right?
Yeah.
At home.
Oh no! This is going to be a thrashing.
But
5-1.
again, they play
Okay.
Astana on Thursday and then they play Moreirense on Monday.
And then they put Porto on
It's,
Friday. Yay!
Vão esgotar os gols agora.
Oh, they're
Okay.
going to get them all out of their
I
system
think
now?
it's going to be 1-1, though.
Yeah, they're going to get all of
the
these next two games. They get it all of their system.
It's not going to be easy for Sporting. But I might be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be easy. Anyway, so thank you guys for sticking with us. If you're still listening, we'll be back next week talking about all
I say we
the 5
just go
games
straight through
again.
until next week.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Bruno. Do not ask the people that question that you did, off the air. Just don't, not like that. Anyway, also thank you, Patrick, for coming on again. It's really nice having you. And thank you, Cynthia, and we'll see you
You're
guys
welcome.
next week.
Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Make sure you guys check out Peter's tweet. He's going to be asking the magical question tonight.
Oh, God.